Hi, welcome to the Rittner Floral School in Boston, Mass. I'm Dr. Steve Rittner, and it's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today. We got a neat demo planned for you. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you a couple of tricks of the trade, a few techniques that I think you'll find that'll be really kind of neat and fun to play with. One of the biggest problems that many people have when dealing with water-based media is how to control the flowers. By water-based media, what we mean is something like this, perhaps a container of glass. It's got water in it, and when we start putting things into it, and then the flowers go blah, blah, they go in all different directions. Or it could be an opaque ceramic container that also is filled with water. How do you control your flowers? How do you make things go where you want them to go? And how do you come up with a cool effect or something that is fairly impressive? I'm going to show you a quick way of coming up with a really cool effect using what we call water-based media. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. It's a quick, easy, fun approach which exemplifies the Rittner Floral School approach of quick and easy and fun when it comes to floral designing. So let's show you how we can do it. Well, first of all, I'm going to take one of my favorite materials. This stuff is called curly willow. Curly willow. Isn't this stuff neat? It's one of many different kinds of things that I call branchy stuff. There are all kinds of branchy things that we can use in our arrangements that make our designs look very, very dramatic. I love the curly willow because it twists, it turns, it goes in all different directions, and it's really, really cool. I do recommend that when you get this stuff, if you can, for something like this, try to get it in a very, very fresh state. If it's still very fresh, just recently cut, you can put it in water, as I've done with this, and then what will happen is you'll get some green growth on it, which I think adds to the beauty of the branchy material. Now, there are other branchy materials out there as well. Oh, one other thing. When I got this in, I put it in water, let it alone for a week or so, and not only did we get some of the green growth here, but we even got some roots occurring as well. Now, the neat thing about this is we can take this and we can put it into a container like so. And immediately we've got something that looks pretty cool. Now, it's still going to twist, it's going to turn, it's going to move around on us. And that's typical of anything that's water-based, whether it's in glass or whether it happens to be in an opaque container. But you notice by putting it in there, first of all, it's created height, a lot of height on the design. And it's also giving us an infrastructure through which we can work and we can do interesting things. And what I'd like to do, my viewer, is combine this with some other cool things. There are all kinds of large foliages out there that work very, very well for something like this. This is philodendron. It's absolutely amazing. You can buy this kind of stuff either as basically cut foliage, or if you happen to have a plant lying around or somewhere near you in your home, not somebody else's, you can take a few cuttings and use it, and it really works well. There are other kinds of large foliages out there, aspidistra leaves, tie leaves, or tea leaves, depending upon how you want to pronounce it, all kinds of things that you can experiment with. But we haven't used too much in terms of our philodendron in any of our videos, so we thought that it would be kind of fun to play with this particular item. And what I'm going to do, my viewer, is I'm going to take this, and it's probably going to move around and give us some interesting things while we're trying to do it. But notice I'm taking one, placing it on one side. I'm going to take another, place it on the other. I could stop at this point if I wanted to. I'm going to get really daring and put a third one in. And so I'm going to work a third of our philodendron leaves right in here, kind of facing towards us. So by doing this, we're not only getting the height of our design, with our curly willow, but now we're getting an interesting effect here with our philodendron leaves. Now, I'm doing this as a one-sided piece, but I could continue to put pieces on the other side as well. We could stop at this point if we wanted to, but we're not going to. We're going to play with it just a little bit more. And I want you to see the kinds of things we can do. We can take flowers and we can start working it actually through this infrastructure. So notice that I can take a rose, place it in here. Now, lo and behold, it stays pretty nicely. And I can take another one And it doesn't take that many. In other words, you don't have to use a huge number of flowers to do something like this. 1 or 2 stems, 3 stems. I mean, really, it depends on you. In this particular case, I'm going to add just one more here so that we have a third one coming down here as well. And now you can see, when I say that at Rittner Floral School, floral designing can be as easy as 1, 2, and 3, here you got it. 1, 2, and 3. So you've got something that really doesn't take very long to do. Create the infrastructure, throw a few foliage leaves around it, work a few flowers through the middle, and boom, instant design. Something like this would go well in a bay window. It would go well in an entry area. Anywhere where you want something that is fairly substantial, and it's not a teeny tiny kind of design. It also shows that sometimes less is more. In other words, we haven't used a whole lot. We used a bunch of foliage, 3 roses, 3 philodendron leaves, and boom, you've got yourself a pretty neat design. Now, I wanted you guys to see this coming together in front of you, but let me show you a couple more variations using the same technique that I used on this. I put these several together just before doing this video because I thought you guys might find it interesting. Because once you can do one, you can do a lot of different things. Here's another idea. This one's a little bit more way out. It's a little kinkier. Some of you may like it, some of you may not. Keep an open mind on this. What we're doing on this particular one is very much the same idea as on the first. An infrastructure created in the middle, but instead of using my curly willow here as my infrastructure, I took a big bunch of wax flower and threw wax flower in. After putting the wax flower in, I put a couple of pieces of bamboo in, bamboo or river cane, and then I have a little armature, which is basically some bamboo or river cane kind of tied together in a kind of interesting configuration. I threw that one in over here. At that point, yes, I could have used the philodendron leaves. I chose not to in this one because I wanted to show that you can do it with other things. You can do it with other leaves too, sure. These are called Midolino sticks. They're pretty cool. They come in a rainbow of colors. And we can do all kinds of things with them. For example, we can take them, make them into loops, tie wire to them. And in this particular case, I tied 3 of them into loops, put one here, one towards the front, and then took a few freestanding Midolino sticks and worked them in here. And then finally, just as we did with here with 3 roses, I wanted to show floral designing can be as easy as 1, 2, and 3. And so we've got 1, 2, and 3 roses here to come up with a very, very interesting composition. Now, keep an open mind on this. This one is a little bit more on the fringe. It's a little more way out. But still, it's the same idea. It's the same concept. Start with an infrastructure. Work some things around here. Work some things through, lastly, with a few flowers. And you've got yourself something really interesting. I want to show you one more, my viewer, before we conclude today, because I want you to see some of the possibilities involved when you're doing this kind of thing. Then the next one is a little bit, again, on the contemporary side, but it has more of what I would call an oriental kind of flair to it. You may like, you may not like, but it's an interesting one. And again, it's using the same idea. In this particular case, the same container we've used in all of them. In this one, a big handful of bamboo. But bamboo does tend to float, so we had to use a lot of it in this particular base in order to hold our spot. After putting a big handful of bamboo in here, a philodendron leaf here, a philodendron leaf here. Notice that different than this one, I put one to the left, one to the right, one forward. In this case, I've got one a little lower, and I've got one raised up a little bit higher. And then at that point, a little armature worked here into the center, and then a few flowers. Now, I decided I wanted to come up with something that felt a little different. So instead of using 3 roses, I've got liatris, a third liatris, a couple of roses in there, and then to kind of give it a wilder effect, we went back to our curly willow, our branchy stuff, and threw a little piece over on the side. This gives a very, very contemporary, almost like Eastern flavor to the design. But make no mistake, my viewer, it's the same principles involved. Coming up with an infrastructure, working a few foliage leaves or something kind of coming around to give a dramatic effect and base on the material, and then working a few flowers through. So what do you think, my viewer? Quick, easy, and fun. That's the Rittner Floral School way. Why don't you go out, grab some containers. It could be glassware, it could be ceramic. Get some branchy stuff. Get a few flowers. Get some foliages and experiment. I think you'll find, my viewer, that this will change your whole way in terms of looking at glass-based or water-based type designing, because you can come up with some really big things very, very quickly and very, very easily. On behalf of all of us here at Rittner's Floral School, I'm Dr. Steve Rittner. It was a pleasure welcoming you into one of our classrooms today. We hope you enjoyed this brief presentation. By all means, please feel free to come back, watch more of these things. We got plenty of them online. And also, check out our website at www.floralschool.com and our Facebook page as well for more resources and all kinds of classes and workshops that we offer here. Again, we thank you for coming in and visiting with us today.